Let's jump into problem 19.5a. It's a bargain purchase option question. Tofino Excavating, a site preparation contractor, leased a hydraulic excavator on the following terms. So they've leased a hydraulic excavator January 1st, 2031. It's a 3-year lease term. I always look for like how long the economic life of the asset is. The asset lives for 9, so 33%. We're not anywhere close to our 75% threshold here. The annual lease payment, $16,000. Payments are due January 1st, meaning it's an annuity due. We pay at the start, which is very normal for leases. So in terms of, it's 3-year lease, so this should be pretty straightforward to number line. At time 0, we pay $16,000. After 1 year, we pay $16,000, and that covers year 2. After 2 years, we pay $16,000. That covers us through, so first payment covers year 1, second payment covers year 2, third payment, third payment covers year 3, brings us up to here, and that's sort of where we sit by the end. And there's no lease payment at the end of year 3, we just use it till the end of year 3, and then we're done with it. Tofino may purchase the excavator for $20,000 on December 31st, 2033. So there is a potential payment at the end of 2033. The excavator's fair value on that date is expected to be $34,000. Okay, so this is the type of deal where even if we don't need the excavator for more than 3 years, we're a fool not to take the deal because we can pay $20,000 for something we could turn around and sell for $34,000. We'd be a fool not to take the deal. We should take this. This is a bargain purchase. So if that's the case, if we're going to take the deal, well, at the end of year 3, we're going to have a cash flow of $20,000 to buy the thing. So, first question is, show that it's a finance lease. Bargain purchase means finance lease. So we don't need to go through all of the others. Does title change hands? Well, not officially, but it's going to change hands because step 2, there's a bargain purchase. Present value, not present value, 3 out of 9 years, it doesn't hit that threshold. Present value of future payments. Well, let's go through the present value of the future cash flows. And we want to PV each of these cash flows. So it's an annuity due, which means we can do PV of an annuity on these 2 or PV of an annuity due on these 3. We're going to have to do present value of a lump sum on this one. And because of the nature of this, there's just not that many. I'm just going to present value each of them individually. So to do a present value, you just divide by 1 plus the discount rate, 7%, to the power of whatever year you're discounting to. So 1.07 to the 0, 1.07 to the first power, 1.07 to the second power, and 1.07 to the third power. And you just like add up these present values. So 16,000 divided by 1.07 to the 0 is 16,000 because 1.07 to the 0 is 1. 1.07, why did that go 0? It's 1. So 1.07 or 16,000 divided by 1 is 16,000. Next one, 16,000 divided by 1.07 to the first power. So divide by 1.07, 14,953. 16,000 divided by 1.07 squared, 16,000 by 1.07 to the power of 2 is 13,975. And last but not least, 20,000 divided by 1.07 cubed, x to the y 3, 16,326. So what's the present value of these future cash flows? 16,000 plus 14,953 plus 13,975 plus 16,326. Now, had this been longer, I might have done some PV of an annuity. I just did this because it was the quickest way I could think to do it. But the present value here is 16,254. I'm going to cough. There we are. Okay, so step 1 in the books, is this a finance lease? Yes, because of the bargain purchase. Step 2, it says calculate the initial lease liability right of use asset. Well, a right of use asset's worth $61,254. So you know me, I always want to do a journal entry here on January 1st, 2031. We're going to debit right of use asset. Canadian students will call this asset held under lease or something like this. 61 254. On day 0, we credit cash for the first payment because it comes out on day 0, $16,000, and the rest will go to lease liability. 61,254 divided by 16,000. Not divided by minus. It should not be a decimal. 61,254 minus 16,000. What was I thinking? 45,254. I can tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking about depreciation, and that's a divided by. I got my brain befuddled. The other thing that's on my mind, and now it's not going to come into play that early in the question, but we do have a 61,254 asset. How long do we depreciate it over? Over 3 years or over 9? Those are sort of the two numbers that it should be floating in your head. And the answer here is 9 years, because we're going to experience this asset for 9 years because we're buying it, right? So the expected useful life here is 9 years, not the lease term of 3. So divide by 9 years. And again, we could overcomplicate this, or, pump in residual value at the end of our life or whatever. There's all sorts of things we could add to it, but given the information, I would just divide this by 9. We get 6806 as our depreciation per year, right? Our annual straight line depreciation. Okay, so calculate the initial lease liability right of use asset. We've done that. Right of use asset 61,254. Lease liability on time 0 is 61,254, but as soon as we make that first payment, it's 45,254. So could be either of those. It says prepare the lease amortization schedule. Let's do it. Our opening balance here, 61,254, before we make our first payment. Then we make a payment of 16,000. At time 0, there's no interest, so the reduction of the liability is 16,000, and 61,254 minus 16,000 is 45,254. Now we're going to make another payment on the 2032 and another one in 2033, and then at the end of 2033 we make a big chunk, a lump sum of $20,000 to buy the thing, and those are our payments. So what's our interest in between January 1st, 2031 and January 1st, 2032, what's that 1 year of interest? We have a liability of 45,254. We have an interest or a discount rate of 7%. So 3,168. So our liability was 16,000. It reduces by, there's interest of 3,168. So if our payment was 16,000. Of that payment, $3,000 goes to interest, and about $13,000 goes to reduce the liability. 12,832. I started with a liability of 45,254. I've reduced it by 12,832. 32,422 is where I end up. Okay, interest for the next year. I start with 32,422. I take 7% discount rate. 2270 is my interest. So again, I make a $16,000 payment. $2,000 goes to interest, so around $13,730. Did the math in my head. Hopefully that's right. 16,000 minus 2270. Yeah, 13,730 goes to reduce the liability. So 32,422 minus 13,730 is 18,692. Okay, last one, 18,692. The interest on that, 0.07, is 1308. So 20,000, 1308 goes to cover interest. 20,000 is my payment minus 1308. 18,692 goes to cover the liability. And look at that, it was 18,692. I reduced my liability by 18,692. Of course, we would expect our liability to be 0. Okay. So it says prepare the lease amortization schedule for the full term, including the purchase option. Done. That's the table below. Over how many years should we depreciate? Briefly explain, we should depreciate over the economic life. The lease term doesn't make sense because we're going to own this beyond the lease term. Prepare the journal entry or entries for December 31st, 2033 when we exercise the purchase option. Okay, so December 31st, 2033. A few entries. The first is we depreciate our asset. So let's do that. Debit depreciation Quick comment for US GAAP users, you're going to debit not depreciation expense, you'll debit amortization expense. And you'll either credit accumulated amortization or just credit the asset directly depending on what your textbook does. In the videos, I use depreciation expense. That's the common thing under IFRS and Canadian GAAP, but you want to use amortization expense. Okay, back to the video. Expense 6806, credit accumulated depreciation on our right of use asset 6806. Okay, then we make this payment to like buy out the asset. So let's do the payment. So also December 31st, 2033, we credit cash, of course, for $20,000. Since I'm probably behind my own head here, we credit cash for $20,000. The debit is to interest expense, 1308. And lease liability, lease obligation, 18692. Okay, so we've wiped the lease off our books. The one problem we have is we have this asset called a right of use asset or asset held under lease, some leased asset descriptor, and it shouldn't be called that anymore. It should just be called equipment, right? This is just normal equipment now. It's not held under lease, and so we don't need to indicate it. So we have to move it from a right of use asset account just to a normal equipment account. So we got to reclassify it. December 31st, 2033, I get rid of my right of use asset, credit right of use asset 61254, and I debit equipment. Is this an excavator or something? I'm going to call it an excavator. 61254. So now I have this excavator account. It's just amongst my normal equipment. I have to do the same thing with AD. We've done AD or depreciation for 6806 a year for 3 years. Remember, we've owned this for 3 years before we make this transition. So my AD up to this point, 6806 times 3 would be 2418. I got to move it from AD right of use asset to AD equipment. How do I do it? I just debit AD right of use asset for 2418, all of the depreciation so far, and I just say it goes in AD equipment, you know, and I can have like excavator as like a sub account to my AD equipment, 2418. And there we go. I think we've solved it. There's one thing for you left to solve. Solve your way to the like button. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.